Hey there, friends. A little bit different look for my video today. My son has had, if you guys don't know, my son has special needs. He's had a rough day today, and I just wanted to set up somewhere where I had a little bit more immediate contact with him and could keep a better, closer eye on him. So I'm basically looking out at a picture window in the backyard where he's sitting out there playing with some flashcards. So that's why I'm inviting you essentially into my home today instead of working in my studio out back. First of all, I wanted to bring you guys attention to something really cool by my friends over at Gideon Optics. These guys, they just make such cool stuff. This is the new Granite MOS. This thing is so cool. I don't know if you've seen it. They've done kind of a soft launch online. So you can look at their Instagram account and other places online that you might find some Gideon Optics stuff. But this is more meant for competition. I say meant for competition. It's not only for competition, but it is going to enhance your performance in competition. And the reason why is because this is one of their newest offerings that has a much bigger window in it. You see, your sight picture is going to be much larger on this, and I love the red reflection stuff on that. But it's going to fit directly onto all of your MOS mounting points on a lot of your handguns out there. So you want to check this out. Again, that larger window, I think that's impressive to me. You can see the ruggedness of this thing, just like all their other optics. But widening that, you see how it flares out at the top? Widening that is certainly going to give you that little bit more of an edge that you might need as far as being able to acquire your sight picture a little bit cleaner. You know, sometimes that bigger window is going to get you on target a little faster because you can see more of what's in your sight picture instead of it being blocked by the housing of the unit itself. So I like this new offering by them. Again, it's called the Granite by Gideon Optics. You want to check that thing out. Again, you're going to have your single red dot in the center there too. So look for that at their website. Use my code FTATF and get you a little bit of a discount off of that thing. So you heard about the Afghan accused of plotting a terror attack on Election Day this year. Did you know that he worked for the CIA? Yes, he did in fact work for the CIA. Now, they're not talking right now, and of course they're only saying that he was a, quote, guard in Afghanistan, but you decide whether or not you believe that.
An Afghan man living in Oklahoma charged with plotting an Election Day terror attack right here in the U.S. on behalf of ISIS. The 27-year-old arrived in 2021 after the disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan, and just one day after Donald Trump gave this warning.
The country has never been more unsafe. We have people pouring in through our southern border, which everyone's forgetting about right now because of the travesty of Afghanistan. And if you look at the people coming in by the hundreds, by the thousands, and these are not the people necessarily that wanted the protection.
Right.
These are people. So are they terrorists? How many terrorists are coming in?
Well, at least one is. Former DHS senior advisor Charles Marino joins us now. Charles, found him in Oklahoma, selling his stuff, ready to do a major plot on Election Day. How concerned are you?
Well, very. I've been concerned from the start of this administration once they unveiled their policies and stood down the policies of the Trump administration, which defied common sense when it comes to securing the country. Look, this is all predictable and preventable. But Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas decided that they were going to proceed and go against the best practices when it comes to securing the homeland and implement policies that actively undercut the very departments and agencies that were created in the aftermath of September 11th.
They were able to tap into Telegram and see his communications. He saved ISIS propaganda on his iCloud, participated in pro-ISIS Telegram groups, and he was here, not grateful, just thought, what a great time to hit back at America. Wanted to sell all his stuff, get some money, so when he died as a martyr, he'd be a hero. So think about how many other 27-year-olds are like this that we brought over here out of the goodness of our heart. Under President Biden, there were 375 that we know of that crossed from the terror watch list. Under Trump, over 4 years, there was 11. That's an over 3,000% increase. That's just across our southwest border. How could anyone feel good about that?
Well, they shouldn't. And they're in every community now across the country. And I can tell you the vetting, as far as that goes, the vetting's only as good as the systems we vet against. And the truth is that of the 180 countries being encountered, many special interest locations, we just cannot thoroughly vet not only the people that we're encountering, But also you've got this large growing bucket of gotaways, which has stayed at 2 million since the first year of this administration, and in all reality is likely more closer to 4 or 5 million. So we've got people evading the system. We've got people exploiting the system when they're being encountered, because this is a rush to process. This is a rush by this administration based on their politics to quickly change the demographics of this country, despite what it does to our overall national security. And this is a fact.
So what kind of cracked me up, and this is an NBC article, so it's kind of surprising to me that NBC even reported on this, but they say that they did not say one way or the other whether he was radicalized before or after he came to the U.S. in 2021. If you'll remember, again, as the news report stated, this was after the debacle of the Afghanistan exit. So they're saying that while he was in a hotbed of terrorism and radical Islamists, they weren't sure if that's when he was radicalized or after he got to the United States after that debacle of a shutdown of Afghanistan. One senior administration official said that he became radicalized during the 3 years he lived in the United States. Of course, you see down there at the bottom, the CIA has declined to comment. The CIA won't say anything. When the CIA won't say anything, you know what the CIA is saying, right? One official said every Afghan resettled in the United States undergoes a rigorous screening and vetting process, no matter which agency they worked with. That process includes checking against a full range of U.S. records and holdings. A senior administration official familiar with the details said that the guy passed 2 rounds of vetting with no derogatory information detected. So that's why they're saying that maybe he was radicalized here, because we didn't pick up on it. They're basically covering their own tracks is what they're trying to do here by saying, we vetted him, so he must have been radicalized here because we did our job right. Quick side note, Southern Border doesn't vet anybody. Just want you to be thinking about that. This is one of a few thousand people that came over here from Afghanistan. We have tens of millions coming across the southern border, not just Hondurans, Guatemalans, and Mexicans, Chinese nationalists, people from Afghanistan, people from Sudan, people from all over the radical areas in Africa, the Middle East, Syria. We're not vetting any of those people. This is one that supposedly got caught, who didn't come in through the southern border. What about all the ones that we're not vetting? You don't know what you don't know. Of course, the Department of Homeland Security is also declining to discuss the case. And of course, Mayorkas was one of the ones in his pompous, smart aleck way is pushing back, acting like he's got too much to do, saving people in North Carolina to talk about terrorism in the United States.
This Afghan national who was working for the CIA in Afghanistan was arrested for planning an election day terror plot. He was brought to the U.S. after Afghanistan collapsed. Your agency says as part of the SIV program. The State Department is telling us he was not part of the SIV program, which had strenuous vetting. They say he was never issued an SIV or immigrant visa, and DHS paroled him into the U.S. They further expect the court document to be updated to reflect this from the DOJ side. So, Mr. Secretary, how was this man brought into the U.S.? What screening did he undergo? What did he apply for to get here?
Jackie, I'm here in North Carolina communicating with the individuals who are still conducting search and rescue operations. Over 200 people have lost their lives in Hurricane Helene. We have reports that at least 10 individuals have lost their lives as a result of Hurricane Milton. I'd be very pleased to answer your question in a different setting, but we're here to talk about emergencies and the support that we can deliver to people in desperate need. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Secretary, but we're getting conflicting answers from your agency and from the State Department about a man who was arrested for an election day terror plot. How do you not have those answers prepared?
Jackie, that's not what I said. What I said is I'd be pleased to discuss this issue at a different time, but I am here to speak about disasters that have impacted people's lives in real time, and that is the subject that I am addressing today.
Mr. Secretary, can you assure people that appropriate steps have been taken to secure the country against these kinds of threats? Because the outstanding question is whether this man was radicalized before the U.S. government brought him here or afterward. And people should be concerned about that.
Jackie, your persistence in questioning can be matched by my persistence in answers.
First of all, what do you think he's really doing over there, right? What is he really doing? You see how he's dressed? That's not how first responders dress. This is simply busy work, which means, let me break that down for you a little bit. He's in the way. He's in the way. So he's using being over there as an excuse to not address the very fact that we have terrorist attacks that are legitimately being planned in the United States for Election Day. And oh, by the way, I'm too busy right now. Hey guys, hey. I'm working on hurricane relief. I'm saving people over here. Please don't bother me about terrorism. The people in North Carolina need me, Mr. Mayorkas, right? Yeah, the people in North Carolina and East Tennessee probably wish you would leave because you are absolutely in the way. Please go take care of terrorism threats. Again, the radical Islamist terrorist said that he planned his attack for Election Day, November 5th, and the attack was intended to target large gatherings and that he expected to die a martyr. Folks, I have a problem with the federal government disarming people anywhere. When have you ever heard any fights, shootings, or anything breaking out at a polling place? It's not because guns aren't allowed in most cases at polling places, because guns aren't allowed in schools, banks, churches, places like that. And obviously, there are still people that go into there, criminals with guns, rob them, and kill people in them. So clearly the laws don't work. Criminals aren't going to hit up polling places. That's why there's literally never any shootings at polling places. 21 states and DC have explicit prohibitions on guns at voting sites. As you can see down below, I'm actually in Louisiana, who has a pretty strict ban. Open and concealed firearms are banned. They're banned for those who decide not to carry. Can you read between these lines? Do you see in between these lines? The people who decide not to carry at polling places. Many of you on this map are affected by this. They are letting terrorists in our country by the millions from the southern border. They are not vetting these people. They are not partially vetting these people or any kind of vetting. They're simply not vetting them. So this guy that got caught is the one that they don't want to talk about because he does have CIA ties. You say what you want. Those CIA ties, he was not just a guard. That's the one that we know about. What about the hundreds, maybe thousands, that cross the border illegally? So they say you can't carry a gun in many of these states to polling booths on November 5th. Friends, you act accordingly. You are responsible for your own actions. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what not to do. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to protect myself however I need to. I'm not saying I'm carrying a gun. I'm not saying I'm not carrying a gun. But I will be safe on polling day because the federal government is not looking out for my safety. The federal government does not care if there is an election day terrorist attack. In fact, the federal government might be okay with a terrorist attack on election day because it's looking like, based on polling, that their candidate that they so badly want to win is likely not going to win right now. So what better way to disrupt the election process than to let there be an outbreak of terrorism on election day to halt the election and make us put it on hold for however long and declare some kind of martial law or some kind of other silly edict that halts the election and keeps the right person from getting in the White House. Again, folks, on election day, act accordingly.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
¡Piso abajo!